How are you guys doing? Today I'm going to teach you how to complete the Gemini Elite Raid for your account in Tarisland. I'm going to break it down really simply in this beginning section and then just go straight into a gameplay of the Elite Raid where I was able to complete it and even were lucky enough to unlock the Helmet of the Bloody Vine, which I have already equipped. You might have seen it in some of my earlier videos. So when it comes to this raid, what do you need to understand? There's two main things that you do need to understand when it comes to it. As a tank player, you have a really important role. A tank player needs to maintain both of these different bosses a far enough distance away from each other, because if they are too close from together, they're gonna get this energy resonance, and it's just a nasty way of saying they're not gonna take as much damage as you hope to when you're in the raid. So it's very important to make sure both of these bosses are as far away as possible. Now, when it comes to DPSing down the bosses, you do have a very important task to do. You need to focus down one of the bosses first and get it down to a certain percentage, and then you need to switch to the second boss and you do the same thing. Because what you're trying to do, as you read on the 5th point here, is when the bosses are near death, it will become invincible for 10 seconds, and when the difference between the HP and the HP of the other boss is more than 5%, if the difference between their HP is still more than 5%, at the end of the invincible status, the HP of the boss will recover and the same HP as the other boss. So what this means is, if you hit the invincible status of one boss and then you go to start DPSing down that second boss, if it's not killed or if it's just over 50%, 60% HP, that other boss, once it's come out of that invincible phase, will have the same HP. So you need to basically kill these guys at the same time and bring them down gradually. So that is the whole gimmick of this raid. There is some more stuff to read, but I'm going to go over that in the gameplay because it's going to make it a lot more easier to understand. So now let's just dive into some gameplay of the Elite Forest Gemini, so now we can understand what all of this gibberish that I've been throwing at you guys. So what we're going to do is go over this gameplay review, and I am going to pause it during certain segments so you understand what we're trying to do. So the first things first, as you guys know from the intro, and what we kind of want to do with our bosses, we are using all of our DPS and everyone apart from one of the tanks and the healers to DPS this main boss, right? So we're DPSing down the Son of Nature first, and then we are going to switch to the Wild Sun once the Son of Nature gets low enough for us where we feel comfortable, where we can switch over and start killing the other, right? So what we're going to do is start DPSing this boss down, and a bunch of different mechanics are going to start to occur on screen. So the first mechanic that we're going to have to address is going to be the AoE and the debuff that gets applied to myself as well as the main target, right? So everyone in the room, as you can see, gets this debuff of this little blue aura that's on them. If you're in it, you're going to take massive damage, so just make sure you're out of it. But one main target here, and we can see it on the very far side, has this giant AoE circle. And it's their job, pretty simply, to move away from the team so they don't take damage, as well as to dodge a bomb that is going to come out of themselves when you see it appear. So you'll notice they're going to start moving around, and in the moment you'll see this green circle appear. There it is. It's a little timer. They just have to dodge it, right? So nothing too crazy at the moment. What you need to do for those first major mechanics in this raid, right? The next mechanic is this big spikes, and this is a really easy one again to dodge. All you're going to see is these big 3 areas of lines appear. Just make sure you're inside of the triangle, basically. You're not going to take any damage, so that's a nice skill to dodge. From here, all you're going to be doing again is DPSing down the boss, nothing too crazy here. And then we're going to go into the next mechanic. So you'll notice the boss here has transformed into a bird, and it's going to do a new move, which is you've seen in the tutorial, if you remember, in Tarisland. So all you got to do for this move is get everyone together and huddled up into the circle, because by doing so, you're gonna reduce the amount of damage the main target takes, meaning they're not gonna die, right? So you can see we're able to do this and fulfill this mechanic check. And if you've noticed, we do have that one person, there we go, right above me with the circle trying to dodge, obviously, the bomb mechanic. So it's quite a lot going on, I will admit, but once you understand what is, you know, this mechanic, that mechanic, and the next mechanic, it's pretty easy to go through. So this one is the third mechanic that you need to understand, and it's a way for you to dodge the knockback or the gust effects in the game. So you're going to be able to place, as you can see, 3 circles, which are going to be 3 stones that are basically going to be used to dodge, again, certain abilities in the game, right? So the next major mechanic you're going to see is this big blue river thing that's all over screen. If you're a mage player, most other players, I'm not going to lie, you can probably take this as long as you hide behind the block. You'll notice if you have the shield up, it won't do too much damage. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't do too much damage. You can take the one. However, if you're trying to dodge them all you have to do is make sure you just go into the third that hasn't got, obviously, the tiger in. It's not too hard to dodge that, right? So here we go. So now we're going into the next DPS phase. We've got the boss around 30% DPS, and this is where we're going to switch targets. So you're going to switch targets around 30% HP and focus down now on the other boss. And it's again down to the tanks to make sure that other boss is aggroed away, so it's just staying there and it's not reducing any damage this other boss is going to take now. So we can see another player getting the debuff. He is running away, dodging the little bombs that are coming out of him, and you can see I am positioned in a way so I'm not taking obviously any of his AoE also, right? Here we saw one big swipe from the Wild Sun. I wasn't able to blink out of that, otherwise I was going to go into the AoE of the other player. So I just kind of took it on the chin and took that damage, right? But apart from that, this is pretty much all of the mechanics covered. The next one is going to be this meteor strike that gets thrown out. Nothing too crazy, but you've seen everything now that we're going on. We're just dodging, basically, every red mechanic or blue mechanic on the screen and focusing down this boss. Here we have the Cyclone. The Cyclone is just appearing. Again, just move out of the way, guys, out of that tornado. Otherwise, it's going to knock you up and interrupt your DPS. And now we're coming to the final area. So I press my Inscribe Stone and start doing big DPS damage. And we're at the 25% marker. And this is where, depending on your raid team, you can do a different couple of strategies. You can still DPS down this guy. You can see we're at 20% HP. We're going around 15% HP. And you can see the group, if we pause it, has split up into 2. So 50% of the DPS is on one and 50% of the DPS is on the other. And by doing so, what you're doing is spreading it out nicely. So when you're getting really, really close to those thresholds, you can quickly focus one and then switch and focus the second one. So my job, as you can see, is to focus down the Wild Sun. And now, because we're getting close enough, I go for the kill on the bird. The bird is now at the 5% threshold. It's going to hit the, you know, mechanic, what we just saw, which is fine. And now the Wild Sun is really low. We kill the Wild Sun. The bird is back. And because it's low enough, again, we just focus down that. Job's done. Bob's your uncle. We was able to complete it, get calm of the outrage, and boom! We unlocked the Helmet of the Bloody Vine 2, all in that one elite raid. So honestly, it might be kind of crazy for you guys to go in the first time, but honestly, all you've got to do is keep the bosses away, target one down to around 30%, target the second one down again to around 30%, then split the damage across, finish the Wild Sun, and then finish the bird off last. And it's that easy. If you follow these tips and tricks, you see what we was able to do in a random group of players, guys, in this raid, just to showcase how easy it is and nothing too complicated at all. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like the fact that I was able to get the Forest Bloody Vine headgear as well, smash a like, comment, and subscribe if you want more raid guides in the future. hit a comment down below so I know to put them out there. This is the first of them, so it might not be the best, it might not be the most refined, but I will try my best to get them more and more refined in the future. This is just a little tester, right? So with all of that said, smash that, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.